Yeah, you had to click unmute. There you go.
Oh, I thought you were going to unmute me. Let me start over. Hey, everybody, it's Fabienne. So happy that you're here with me today. As you're coming in, put something in. Thank you, Kiara. I just figured that out. Hello, Ann Britt. Lovely to see you. Becca, wonderful to have you here. And Milena, hello. Great to see all of you today. Hi, Vanya. Yeah, well, I fixed the sound, so it should be working now. Just want to say, so happy that you're here. Really big topic today. This is a topic that I've been sharing a lot with the members of Bold Heart Business and the members of the launch program here at Bold Heart. And this is a thing that is preventing so many people, so many really good people from getting out there and really getting the exposure and visibility needed, is this criticism online. It's the online haters and the trolls and the people who can say really nasty things, especially just the last, oh gosh, I mean, I was going to say political climate, but also with this current climate, there are a lot of people with very big opinions and that are not afraid to share their opinions. And we, if you're sensitive like me, and if you are, just put it into the chat. Hi, Gail. Wonderful to have you. If you are a sensitive person, this is going to bother me the whole time. I put too much. There we go. I put too much makeup on my eyebrows. Way to keep it real. If you are a sensitive person like me, just put something in the chat like, yes, I'm sensitive. Or if you have held yourself back from creating more visibility online because there's a small part of you that fears what people will say, just tell me what that particular fear is. I would love to listen. I'm just going to keep it really real. I even forgot to put my earring. It's like this side was not being taken care of. So I created an entire presentation, an entire system for you today. These are things that I talk about. These are best practices that I, as a sensitive woman in business who understands that marketing is about reach, and reach creates exposure and sometimes unwelcome visibility. I have been dealing with this for several years, and I have made a commitment to not let it stop me anymore. So whereby I've been sharing these best practices. This is the very first time that I've put it together into a presentation to share with you. Good morning, Janet. Lovely. Yes, me too. I absorb from others as well. Hi, Revitel. Lovely to have you here. So we're going to talk today about overcoming the fear of rejection, the fear of criticism, the fear of the hatred the vitriol, as some people call it, that can appear online when we're just out there doing our thing. You are an empath, Vanya. You feel people's energy and the energy of the surrounding, even internet chats. I'm with you on that. And especially when you are the person who is the one being attacked, it can feel even worse. So I would like to begin this conversation with you and begin my presentation. And I hope that you will take lots of notes. This is my husband, Derek.
Hello, everybody.
Come. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for your help. And just keep putting in the comments. I can't see all their comments. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Now I see them. Hi, Sharon. Great to have you here. So are the comments coming up at the top?
No, at the bottom.
Oh, at the bottom. Okay. All right. Hey, Ashling. Great to have you here. So is this where I have to move to the side again? Yep. Okay.
And then you'll see it there in just a second.
No, hold on.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, okay, great.
And then you'll know which way to move, either to the left or to the right.
I think it's this way. I'm not really quite sure. I never remember this. I should make a note of this. Yeah, self-confidence and fear of Rejection, Susan. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I have put together, like I said, a ton of information today. This is me just sharing everything I've got to be useful. What I will say is, I think I say this in the presentation. So let's just go for it, okay? I hope you have a notebook, take lots of notes, and by all means, can you please write comments? I want this to be kind of a conversation where I hear what you're saying, and I may be even able to answer some questions throughout, or at least at the end. So good to see you today, Jane. Hi, Mark. Great to see you. So glad that you're here. We're talking today about getting over the fear of the haters. The bigger you play, the more visible you get online. And listen, everybody's doing things online now. The more you will attract hating comments. So today we're going to talk about getting over the fear of haters so that you allow yourself to be more visible online. So as more of us are affected by the current conditions affecting our world, meaning we're in lockdown, we're in quarantine, we're in confinement, we're cocooning, however you choose to look at it, we are noticing that not only our businesses need to pivot, but also our ways of marketing. So you may have been the kind of person who loves to network. Perhaps you liked to do in-person coffee dates or speaking, and now everything has to move online just by virtue of the times that we live in. So we're now required to do the things online bigger than we ever thought we would need to. And this makes a lot of people really worried. I was talking to, for the members of Bold Heart Business, I do a Q&A every Saturday. This is new, for 2.5 hours. And a lot of people were saying, I'm not hustling the way I should. And I say, let me guess that because it means you're going to be going online, because it means that you're going to be a bigger target for criticism than you thought. You don't like the way you look. You don't like the way you sound. Maybe you don't like the fact that you've put on a couple pounds since this confinement, this quarantine, and you just don't really want to put yourself out there. And everybody that I talked to was like, oh, Fabienne, that's exactly it. I just hate the idea of moving online to do this. And so they're hesitant to do so because of the fear of attracting the negativity or the criticism. Today is in this free live, and really the presentation is mostly for me, just to keep my thoughts organized. But some of you may be a person who is less auditory and more visual like me. So I hope this helps, but it's just here to organize my thoughts. Today's about shifting your mindset to be able to go visible without letting the fear drag you down. So one of the things, if you're brand new to me, I should probably introduce myself for a couple seconds before diving in. I'm Fabienne. I'm the founder of boldheart.com. We have programs. I've been in business for 21 years. Tens of thousands of women business owners have make millions every year because of the work that we do with them. We have 3 programs. We have the launch track, which is the affordable $97 a month to work with me. You can do it for 1 month, do it for a year or less, whatever you want. So launch is about launching your business. Growth is about getting you to 10K a month consistently. And leverage is about getting you to, once you're already at 10K a month, it's about getting you to multiple 6 figures and then eventually $1 million in your business while getting your life back, while having it all, feeling like you have the life of your dreams. So I'm just setting that context. And I've had to be very visible in my business as a result of doing this. But I mentioned mindset because at Bold Heart, in any of our programs, we have a mindset first methodology, and I'll explain it to you. Then I'm going to dive into the content for today. You can know what to do, like you know what to do, like do a Facebook Live every day, do videos every day, go on social media. Gary Vee talks about doing 7 to 20 pieces of content on each social media channel every day. You can look up what to do. It's not always the what to do. Perhaps it's the how to do it, right? Which is what we provide. But there's the mindset around it. If you don't feel, if there are fears, there are beliefs, there's a self-image that is small, if you don't feel like you are up to the task, you have the ability, mindset-wise to do it, you will never do the thing. And this is why we have a mindset first methodology to everything we do. First, we shift your mindset, and then we teach you exactly how to do the thing so that you implement quickly and you get to that 10K a month, you get to that million within 3 to 5 years. So today is about shifting your mindset. This is a little bit of a taste of how we do things in our programs, so that you're able to go visible. So I really like this quote by Jeff Bezos. If you're doing anything interesting in the world, you're going to have critics. Write that down, please. If you're going to do anything interesting in the world, you're going to have critics. If you can't tolerate critics, he says, don't do anything new or interesting. If you can't tolerate critics, don't do anything new or interesting. And this is where people stop, because they're not sure how to handle the critics. They don't do anything new, big, or interesting. And I'm going to show you today how to get past that so that you can grow your business, even in these times, especially in these times online, without worrying about what would happen to you. So in this age of entrepreneurship, you have untold reach. You have access to billions of people around the world. That is amazing. When I started my business 21 years ago, we didn't even, it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. There was not social media in the same way. Yeah, you had a website, but we didn't have a reach, hashtags, the ability to do all these videos online, and it really was a different world. Now, all you need is Wi-Fi. You don't even need a computer. You can just use your phone, right? This is an incredible opportunity for a one-person business, you, right? For a one-person business to become very, very successful, right? I'm just looking at the comments. Social media is a powerful tool that has so many personal and professional advantages. We use social media to connect, to be inspired, but also to get our business out there. And as you can probably guess where I'm going, it also comes with some downsides, right? And some pretty significant downsides. So we're trading off reach and affordability for of playing in this global sandbox. Literally, this is a sandbox where you can play and you can do just about anything you want, and it is global. And now your posts and opinions are becoming accessible to the masses of people around the world. But the key distinction here, this is where people get really stuck. The distinction is the access to these masses of people online are people who don't necessarily have the same background that you do. They have different background, they have diverse opinions and diverse mindsets. So if you were just marketing to people who are just like you, this probably wouldn't be happening. If you were marketing to people who know you, like you, love you, trust you, champion you, want the best for you, this wouldn't be an issue either. But we're not dealing with that. We are literally in this like crazy world, right? So how do you do it? Well, one, all of these people out there, it's really important to remember that not all people will understand and will be happy about what you post online. I think that we come from this perception of thinking that they will understand, or at least this hope. But I think the idea that you the idea that you believe that the whole world will agree with you or you're not going to do something is kind of you're going to suffer with that. It's an expectation that isn't true. So when people are hiding behind a screen, right, whether it's on their phone or on their computer, and they get emboldened with a feeling of anonymity, all of the trolls that have, not all, but many of the trolls, the people who've said not so nice things to me, I noticed that they often don't have a picture of themselves, and they often don't have their full name or even their full first name. So when people are hiding behind the screen, when they're emboldened by a sense of anonymity, many of them will feel entitled to write things to you that they wouldn't say to your face. If you have experienced this, please say yes in the chat. Oh, yes, you saw me do that, Larice, last week. Yeah, there were some hater comments, and I'll probably talk about it today. And I'm going to show you how to turn it around from a positive place, even though it still stings. Yeah, the cheap seats, we would call those the peanut gallery, right? So yeah, Kathy, Marina, Gail, you've been in that place. So I have had many experiences with haters in the past, and I just want to say I don't put out inflammatory stuff. I try to be cautious and to write things that are taking into consideration other people's views, and I still get things. And so I want to share with you something that happened last summer. Some of you might know about this. You changed Becca, you're changing your entire business to get away from it. Very, very interesting. You have a troll, Diane. I'm so sorry. Sending love. I hope that what I'm going to talk about today is going to be helpful. So last summer, I experienced this with what is now called within the Bold Heart team, Shrimpgate. And I'm actually nervous to tell you about it because I could see how you too could say some of the things, or think some of the things that I was told then. But I'm willing to show it to you, tell it to you as an example anyway. So we were in the southwest of France for 2 weeks last summer, visiting a good friend of ours and his family at the beach. And I love to cook, and shellfish is my favorite food in the world. And we went, Derek and I and the kids we found this little shrimp shack, if you will, and we bought some shrimp from this farmer, shellfish shrimp farmer. And she said, be careful, they're alive. And they were moving around in the bag. And we said, okay. And she said, they jump. And I said, okay. So when it was time to cook them, we put them in the pot. And I hope, this is bringing back memories. And some of them jumped out of the pot. And I would never post this. I'm going to blame it on my husband, who loves to, I love him. He loves to have me cook, put segment of videos online, because that's what I love to do. I love to cook. I love to entertain. I love to inspire people to bring more lovely foods into their house. And I would never have said, I had just come from the beach. I had not washed my hair. I still had my bikini top on with a little sundress over it. I was not prepared to do a video, and certainly not prepared to have shrimp jump out of the pot. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that. It was posted, and the comments were really harsh. Some of them were kind, saying, "Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know." But some of them were like, "You're so cruel. I've been following you for years, and I'm never following. I'll never work with you." You're such a mean person. You're just all these things. And I just read the comments and I was like, oh my God. And I'll tell you the story of how I handle it as we go through this. But this is not the only situation. Something happened last week where I was doing this free pivot your business thing, and I said some things, and some people in the chat, this is probably what you're referring to, Lori's, are they said things like this will kill your business, and just some really mean things because they disagreed with my opinion. There's many instances like that, and I'll share with you how I handled it. So here's the thing: the bolder the message, the more intense the criticism will get. So just know that. And, my company is called Bold Heart. We're setting ourselves up for some interesting times. The undeniable truth is that as you put yourself online in a bigger way, you are going to get haters. You may not have experienced it yet. It's not pretty the first few times. And I don't think it ever gets pretty, but I'm going to share with you my best practices. So it's just part of doing business. At this point, especially in this day and age, you cannot market yourself in a big way without going online. So therein lies the rub, right? What does it look like? People saying nasty feedback or posting cruel things that they would otherwise not say to your face. And that is going to be the key in overcoming this. It's the things that people will say that they would not otherwise say to your face. So I have to say this, that high profile people are especially affected by this. Why? Because they have a high profile. High profile meaning they have a bigger reach. Now, here's what I want you to get is most of you would like more reach in your business. If so, put, yes, I would like more reach. Oh, thank you, Sangeeta. Yes, I want more reach, right? The thing is, more reach equals more profile. You want more reach because you want more clients and customers, but it also comes with a higher profile. So the more you want to grow your business, the more you will need to grow your profile. Yeah, you got to write that down for yourself. I like to tell people to write things down because I like to write things down. So the more you want to grow your business, the more you're going to need to grow your profile, which means your visibility, which means your exposure, which means many sensitive entrepreneurs, many sensitive marketers shy away from being too visible. Now, you want more clients, you're shying away from being more visible, you're going to have fewer clients. It's just the name, it's just the formula. The formula is pretty. If I look at everybody who got really big, really fast, they just were willing to get exposure and visibility. I'm so glad that this is helping. Gail, thank you. The last week, like I said, I received some negative comments in a live that I was doing, and it could have affected my confidence long term. I was definitely a little rattled by it. At first, I was like, oh no, here I am delivering a presentation that I've delivered 5 or 6 times. Incredibly useful 2-hour training that has pivoted everything for our clients and a lot of people who watched it. And I saw the difference was this was the first time I was doing this presentation to people who don't know me, not people in this Facebook group. They had literally never heard of me. So they see this person talking about things that they don't have a context for yet because they don't know who I am. And they, without, behind a screen and with anonymity, they said some things. Now, it wasn't a ton of comments. It was 3 or 4 as I remember it, but man, it rattled me. So, and I'll show you how I did it. But I've learned in being self-employed that this negative pushback is just par for the course. So if you're looking to avoid it, my sweet friend, you're not going to be able to avoid it. It is part of doing business. And so we're going to talk about how to do that. It happens to everyone who is doing something interesting, something big, or something worthwhile. The larger your presence, the more you are exposing yourself to criticisms. But saying that doesn't make it easier to deal with, especially if you're on the sensitive side like me. So what will you do when that happens? And here are some ways that have strengthened my mindset to be able to deal with online haters and bashers and stay playing in a bigger game. One of the events that I do, I've done 12 years with tens of thousands of people going through the event, is called the Mindset Retreat. And this is where we spend 3 days upgrading your mindset. So we're going to go deep. This is just a taste. We're going to go deeper into how to get out of your own way and do the things you know you need to do. And so you play a bigger game. That's what we do at the Mindset Retreat. And so if you're interested, I'm doing it in 2 weeks. I don't have an order form. I don't have anything. But if you want to join me online in 2 weeks, you can go check out mindsetretreat.com. Okay. Just write it down, mindsetretreat.com, if you like a taste of this and you want to go deeper. Okay. So first, we're going to understand what is behind keyboard confidence. So I call it keyboard confidence. Some people call it keyboard courage. When you understand keyboard confidence, it's easier to break down. So I'm so happy, Ava, so happy that this is useful. And Allison, thank you for putting, Dawn, thank you for putting the link to the Mindset Retreat in case anybody's interested. We're still signing up people. It's interesting how the fact that it's online, now more and more people are signing up for the 3-day experience. So understand keyboard confidence. When people disagree or are threatened by your post, they're not reacting to a person. They are reacting to a screen. So they're not thinking, I'm sending Fabienne a nasty gram. I'm saying a nasty thing to Fabienne that I would say in person. I'm just reacting to a screen. There are many variations of why people do what they do, and we'll cover some of them today. The screen to them doesn't feel, and it doesn't hurt. The screen dehumanizes. It dehumanizes you, and it dehumanizes them. So it's like there's this wall. Because you're on a screen, they're like, oh, I can do whatever I want to her. And them, because they're behind a screen, she can't do anything to me. You see? So we no longer are humans in this game. What this disconnect does, this wall in between us, it frees people from their social inhibitions. Now, there are some crazy people who would say crazy stuff to you, but not to the degree, the number, or the vitriol that people allow themselves to do when they're behind a computer. So my sense is that people temporarily forget that there is actually a real human, you, behind that screen. They've forgotten that we are humans with feelings. Marina, the 3-day, I'm answering your question in the chat. The 3-day mindset retreat that's happening in 2 weeks is where we were supposed to do the 3-day mindset retreat in London for the first time ever. And we had to pivot online. So there are people who have signed up from Australia, from a lot from the US, but we will be going from UK time zones. But there is a possibility, well, depending on where you live, you can still join us, and you can also just upgrade for a little bit more and get all the recordings and the videos, so you can watch it again at any time that you want. I hope that answers your questions. Dana, I can't wait to see you at the Mindset Retreat. It's going to be amazing. You have no idea how much work we've put into making it a wow experience online. So people temporarily forget that you are a real human being with real feelings. And those who seem downright nasty in their online comments are sometimes actually decent enough people who are just flexing a little bit of muscle of significance from the comfort and the safety of their anonymity behind their screen. So not everybody who does this is a total jerk. Sometimes they've had a bad day. Sometimes they got triggered and they had a fight with their spouse. Maybe they just lost their job, especially in these times, right? So not everybody is a total troll, but they're acting like one because they need significance. So doing nasty grams allows them to say and do things that they would never do with a real live person. It doesn't change the fact that it's not good, but if you know those intellectually, it can help you navigate and maneuver this in a different way, in a way that doesn't keep you from marketing yourself online. So there are a few tactics I'm going to share it with you. One, you could choose not to go to the comments section. I did a TED Talk a few years ago, maybe four or 5 years ago. And it was my first TED Talk, and I wasn't talking about business. So usually I'm talking about business, so I know what to talk about. So I talked about basically how to manifest anything you want in your life. It was an 8 or 10 step process. Go check it out. TED Talk, just Fabienne Fredrickson TED Talk. And I was reading the comments, and then there's this comment that really threw me off. It was something about how grating my voice is and how I talked so slowly. I don't always talk slowly, but there I really wanted, it was the context of where we were. That was a very thoughtful conversation. I just didn't want to talk really fast. I wanted the thoughts to sink in. I read that comment. I'm like, what? But it really hurt my feelings. And I felt so bad about myself. I questioned whether I'm actually a good public speaker, even though I've spoken in front of audiences of 7,000 twice. I've done so much public speaking. I really made me question myself. And that was like one person, and I'm sure there's more, but what I chose to do is no longer read the comments of that TED Talk. It wasn't good for me. And I've noticed that sometimes I feel bad when I start browsing the comment section. So you can take an example from Angelina Jolie. You probably know that she's an actress, and I saw an interview or read an interview. I think it was in Vanity Fair, and she said something along the lines of, I'll share this with you because I'm never going to read the article. And the interviewer said, "You're never going to read the article?" Never, because it's never going to be exactly what I said. It's going to be something that I didn't mean. My words are always twisted. And I'm totally paraphrasing, but she said something along the lines of, you're going to write what you want to write, and people are going to think what they want to think. And I'm just not going to read the article. And it made me think, maybe we don't read the comments. It's like our ego looking, and yes, is our ego looking for validation that we have to see every positive comment? Some people just don't read their comments, right? Here's what I want to say about that. I'm not saying that that's what you do, but it's one option. No one says that you must read the comments. Okay, I know on social media you need to respond to every comment and be really visible and stuff like that. But if you truly cannot bear the thought of reading a negative criticism, and that might just be you, and maybe give yourself permission not to read the comments, turn off the notifications, and train yourself to resist going to see this, right? Oh, thank you so much, Claudel. That is really, really nice of you. Thank you, Don, for putting the TED Talk. That's nice of you too. Well, thank you, Marina. You're right. They didn't say anything about my content. Just my voice is grating. Okay. So next, we want to differentiate the haters from the critics, okay? This really helped me. This actually helped me last week when I had those negative comments, because I realized that some were just haters and some were critics. And there is a big difference there. So most people, I think it's really important also to remember that most people that like your work won't ever comment on it. I know that there's this one blogger who I've bought her books. I've been to her a 4-day event at her house, spending a couple $1,000s, and I have never liked one of her Instagram or Facebook. I never liked. I'm not a liker. I'm not really a commenter. I just not who I am. And she's changed my life because she's one of the reasons why I made some really big changes in my life, including moving to Paris. But I have never posted anything, even though I watch her work all the time. So just know that the majority of people who are watching you really like your work, and they're never going to comment saying that they really like your work unless you ask them, right? So they may share your article, they may talk about it with their spouse, they may, like people are doing right now, I've been posting these Instagram and Facebook, just cooking segments. My daughter just points her phone at me and says, okay, mama, what are we making today? And I've been sharing that, and people are sending back photos of eating the lemon spaghetti recipe that I showed them 2 days ago. People are saying, I made the zucchini thing that you posted about last week, and I made with my mother the shrimp tomato cream sauce pasta that you made from like the shrimp shells. Here we go with the shrimp again. And it was so delicious. Most people will do that and never comment on it, right? They will just enjoy it. And so I just want you to remember that. It's not because you have like 3 people out of 20 comments that there are only 17 people who like your work. There will be other people who will just really appreciate you and never leave a comment. I would love to see, her name is Mimi Thorson, Laura. Oh, thank you, Wendy. That was really nice of you. If you are somebody who never puts a comment or a like, or very rarely does, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but just put like, yes. I almost never, I don't think I ever do on somebody else's stuff, right? Of course, I respond to a lot of the comments that you guys bring me, but it's not something I do as a person. So here's how you can differentiate between the hater and the, I love that there aren't that many people who say they never comment. Oh, here we go. Rarely. Okay. Okay. Maybe that was just a delay. I want you to ask yourself, do they hate me or do they just disagree with my opinion? There is a difference. Do they hate me or do they disagree with my opinion? I'm with you, Katie. Sometimes it's hard to like and comment on everything. I know I watch my kids when they scroll through Instagram, they're like double tapping every picture. I'm like, my thumb would get tired. If they are wishing you pain and suffering for their own pleasure, they are a hater. Okay? This is about intention of causing pain. Critics, on the other hand, can put forth valid points. Not every point that they put forth is valid, but maybe some of it is worthwhile considering. There is a difference between the haters and the critics. So I want to talk to you about the thing that was brought up last week when I did that thing. When I first created the Pivot Your Business presentation, I created it in the first week or 2 of our entire experience with COVID. And there wasn't a lot of information out there, but I was just finding information and I was helping people keep their immunity up as a way to pivot their business. So I was talking to them about green juice and all of these respiratory enhancers and things like that. And it was part of the 7 steps. It was steps 1 and steps 2. And then when I delivered it last week to people who didn't know me, they were like, what is this, 40 minutes in and you're still not talking about pivoting your business? And you have no idea what you're talking about. And a lot of these comments. And and these comments came. Now, there were some hater comments, like, this is going to kill your business. And then there were some comments that I actually thought, is this my wheelhouse? Or am I willing to make some positive shifts to just stay within the things that I really know a lot about? Now, I know about nutrition because I used to be a holistic health coach, but were those 2 steps really necessary to pivot your business? Maybe in the first couple of weeks of this COVID thing, but not necessarily as much now. We're finishing week 6 of our cocooning or lockdown. Within the people that I'm talking to, is where I've got to be careful. There's, not many people are talking as much about immunity. So I looked for what could be useful in the comments from the critics versus the haters. If there's a hater and it's clear that they just want to inflict pain, I'm not interested in their feedback. But I can look beyond what sounds like hatred for possibly something that is useful. So I'll just say this in a different way. Not every negative comment comes from a hater. Sometimes when somebody gives us any criticism, we can assume that they're attacking us. And that's, of course, how I felt last week. But then I looked below the surface, right? Look at it for an opportunity for growth. And I've been teaching this in lots of ways to our members as a way of growing their business for many, many years. If a client pushes back on a certain thing, sometimes the client is way off, and sometimes there's a tiny bit of truth in there. So there may be something that you can pivot and shift based on their feedback that would make you or your work better. So I looked at their comments from last week and I thought, maybe, because the presentation was 2 hours long, the training is 2 hours long, maybe I can just lob off those 2 things. And would it make the whole thing tighter, easier to get into, maybe even more useful? I thought, yeah. And one of the things that I did was we took, and not from the one we did last week, but we took a transcript of the Pivot Your Business webinar, kind of like this, and we turned it into an ebook. So within the next few days, you can go to boldheart.com, and at the very top of the website, you will see a free ebook from me called Pivot Your Business. And instead of 7 steps, it'll be the 5 steps to make changes to your business now so that you can continue not only survive, but thrive in these times. And it's just a free gift on the website. In a couple of days, it should be there, because we're just still figuring out like the cover and things like that. But the whole idea here is that maybe it was, even though they disagreed with me, there was an opportunity for me to learn from it and to use it. So if it hurts a little too deeply, maybe they hit a nerve. And when that woman said, "You don't know what you're talking about," I actually thought about it. And I was like, maybe I did in the first few weeks of COVID, but maybe I just haven't kept up with my facts. And I'm okay with that. At first, we can get upset because an aspect of what they picked up on may be correct, even if it was unjustified that they had to say it in that way. I'm curious to see what you're thinking about this. Catch the replay, Joanne. So glad that you're here. Thank you for putting positive comments out there, Revital. I think there's really a lot of room for the lovers to counterbalance the haters. Is this true? And can I improve in this area? I like that you wrote that, Deborah. Use it to make yourself a better speaker. So, are you too cool for school? I chose to not be too cool for school and take in some of what I could, and pivot. So it went from, if I ever teach Pivot Your Business again, it'll be 5-step instead of 7. It's not that there are some things I didn't change because I feel strongly about them. So one of the things that I've been teaching our members for a long time, it's not because somebody has an opinion of you that says it's true. So you could say to me, Fabienne, you have blue hair. And I can say, I respect that you think that I have blue hair, but I do not have blue hair. Yes, you do. You have blue hair. Thank you for your assessment. But it's not like I'm going to change. I'm not going to, like, they could have said all 7 steps are wrong. I would have said no, because those 5 other steps, that is my wheelhouse. Like, I would like to say nobody is better at those 5 steps than I am, at least the way that I do it. So that would be like telling me that I have blue hair, and then I have I can be in the comfort of knowing that that's not true. So you can differentiate. If you look within and you can be honest with yourself, you can look for the little nuggets. And I like to see things like last week, things like other experiences I've had. See that person as a dark angel who is actually useful in guiding you. I believe that there are, and this is not my wheelhouse either, so please, if I'm wrong, don't send arrows my way. But the way I look at life is there's light angels and there's dark angels. And sometimes dark angels are doing things in the world that we could hate, but they're still guiding us in the right direction. I could name a few, but I won't. So if you find that there is some truth and that it would benefit you to make the pivots, then make the necessary changes if they're appropriate, but do stick to the truth if that's not the case. If they're saying you have blue hair, you're like, don't go change your stuff. You do not have blue hair, right? Unless Maureen here is here and she's got purple hair. And then, yes, Vanya, we'll talk about that. Haters are vulnerable people who get triggered from others. Absolutely. Use everything as a chance to learn and grow. Yes, Beth. And Laurice, to be gentle with ourselves in the process. We're going to talk about that. So the next thing that really has helped me is know that haters they're not thinking straight in the moment. They might not think straight all the time, but we're just going to call it in the moment. So some people feel this is where we want to start having some compassion. Okay. I know that sounds crazy to have compassion for people who have said some really nasty things to us. But listen, this is my approach to life. And this is what I told them on the live last week. The way that I didn't ignore the comments. At first I ignored them and then they kept coming. And then I said something along the lines of, you were there, Lori. So if you remember what I said, feel free to put it in the chat. But I think I said something along the lines of, I honor that you have an opinion that is different than mine. This is a chance for you to do your due diligence and do your own research. This is actually what I was talking about, is pivot your facts and don't be a victim to mass media facts. Get your own facts. So I used it as a teaching moment. And then it just kept coming. And after a while I said, so here's the thing. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you don't have to stay on this live, on this Zoom. You have my permission to go, and I'm sending you with love and light. And then they left. And no more negative comments for the rest of the hour and a half that we were together. They don't have the experience. So here's what I want to say. Some people are wounded. Some people have a totally different opinion and mind frame. And some people feel so insignificant in their lives that they are begging to be heard and seen. And if they can't be heard and seen from a place of love and value, they will be heard and seen any which way they can, including throwing assaults at you and insults. So let's take a look. Perhaps they feel beaten down by their jobs. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe their finances are terrible. Maybe their parents traumatized them. Maybe their spouse doesn't treat them nicely. Maybe their family, they're the black sheep in the family, and they've been told their whole lives that they're not good enough. Maybe there are people who are hopeless, or they have very little, they have very little power in their lives, or they're very little in their lives, right? And they're craving to take up more space. And if they can't do it at home, if they can't feel significant with people by being loving and valuable, they're gonna find other ways, because I believe, I learned this from Tony Robbins, one of the greatest needs for people is to feel significant in their lives. So actual haters aren't really necessarily hating you as much as they may be hating themselves, or they may be hating their lives, or they may be hating their current situation. This is a big thing to remember. And sometimes, Diane, sometimes they're mentally ill. Thank you for the loving and masterful approach, personal accountability comment. But yeah, the compassionate way of looking at it, I'll tell you, Sangeeta, it makes a big difference for me, because I am not the kind of person who's going to lash back out with nasty comments. That's not who I want to be in the world. So I'll share with you some other things that I've done. Is this helpful? Are you guys enjoying this? Good. Okay, so these people, especially the keyboard confidence people, also tend to exaggerate. They want to get your attention. They want to speak up. They want to take up more space. And the way to do that is like to come out with guns blazing, right? Really exaggerate things and completely sometimes avoid the facts. We could see you could see it on both sides of the political line in the US, UK with Brexit, in France here during the Yellow Jackets thing. Their people will exaggerate things on both sides and completely avoid factual information. So once you understand this, I'm going to say this: don't take it personally. But of course, it's hard to not take it personally because we're sensitive people. So the idea is, I'm so happy that this is helpful for you. The idea is to not take it personally for too long, or don't take it too personally. Okay? Because if I said don't take it personally at all, then I would be lying. I would be a hypocrite, because it does affect me sometimes, to the point where I'm sharing this with you, and I created this whole presentation because I see how, listen, even some of our early members, some of our members in the launch program, the one where you launch yourself. And if you don't know about the launch program, Dawn, if you would put the link, it's a program where you get 3 hours of coaching, training and coaching with me per month for $97. You could try it out for 1 month. It's boldheartlaunch.com, boldheartlaunch.com. One of the members in there said, I saw that I wrote an article and 3 people unsubscribed from my newsletter, and now I feel crippled putting out a newsletter. And that wasn't even comments. That was just people unsubscribing. And I said to her, like, don't take it personally, and don't look at your unsubscribe rates. I learned that way early on in my business. If I put an article and then watching the unsubscribes come in, I'm gonna, of course, it's going to affect how I write. So you could choose not to look at it, like you could choose not to look at the comments, but don't take it too personally. To feel better about themselves and their situation, or to feel significant by stating their point in an aggressive, hurtful way, the online trolls or the haters will attempt to hurt you and pull you down with their words. That we know. Yes, Stacy, it can be hard to not take it personally. I get it. And no, they're not thinking about it so much. Absolutely. So try not to take it too personally, because the reason why is it's not really about you. The thing that I took the criticism that I could, and I left behind the hating comments, because those hating comments weren't about me. The thought that I had as they were happening is that person must have a lot of big worrisome things happening in their lives right now. It's not really about you. It's usually about a loss of control in their own lives. I hope you'll write that down. It's about a loss of control in their own lives. So most of the negative feedback would not exist if you were face to face with this person. I just want you to think about it. If I'm at the front of a room and there were like these 100 other people, it is highly unlikely that the person would have stood up and said, "You don't know what you're talking about. This will kill your business." It's highly unlikely that would have happened, because there's some social norms, right? And she wouldn't have done that. So that would not have existed. What I'm trying to say is, what the experience is not real, because it's based on a circumstance that is being anonymous behind a keyboard. That being anonymous behind a keyboard and writing stuff is not a real experience. You can't judge it based on how we've lived our lives so far. So to put their comments into perspective, here are some things that I've asked myself in the past, and some things that I'd like to share with you. So I'll keep this up for a while so that you know you can write it down. Number one, ask yourself, how many of them actually know me in my heart? Here's what I know about myself. And those of you who know me and have worked with me, if this is true, then you can put that in there. But I know that my heart is pure and my intentions are pure. I am a good person. I am here to give value. I am here to give love. I'm here to serve, like always, always, always. And I'm here to give hugs. I'm here to give growth. I'm here to give value, 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 value. And what I know is that if they really knew who I was, they wouldn't think that about me. If they really knew my heart, they wouldn't think that about me. So they're just making stuff up about who they think I am. Number two, you can ask yourself, do their opinions really matter to me? Is that particular person, who I don't know their situation, does her opinion matter in my life? If I asked myself that question, the answer would probably have been no. Not from a mean girl place, but more like, actually, I don't really care what you think of me. I care what people I know, like, trust, think of me. But most importantly, what matters is what I think of myself. Now, I make mistakes. I make mistakes sometimes. You make mistakes sometimes. It is our whole character. Was it a mistake to cook shrimp when they're alive? Yes, that's a mistake. And to film it, even more. Okay. I admit to that. But we make mistakes, and should our entire character be based on one mistake, one thing we could have done differently? So, and does their opinion matter in my life? And the third thing is, would I actually seek out? Oh, thank you, Wendy. Yes, heartfelt hugs always. Would I actually seek out their advice if I knew them personally? Like, think about that for a second. There are people who I ask advice I ask their advice, and there are people I don't. There are people whose advice I pay for, and other people whose advice I would not pay for. So this might actually be the most powerful one is, would I seek out their advice if I knew them personally? And the likelihood is no, which means that their advice or opinion doesn't actually matter to me. So if it doesn't matter, then we don't have to take it as personally. You see what I'm saying? So simply remember that their nasty comments say more about them and the state of their mindset than they ever will about you. They have what's known as a fixed mindset or a victim mindset or a blaming mindset. And you may not, or you may be in a place where you want to grow your mindset. You want to shift how you approach the world, shift how you approach your business, your marketing, the people around you. That's what we're going to do at the mindset retreat in 2 weeks. The whole second day is about shifting your self-image, shifting your beliefs, your fears, going from, if you've ever been in a judgmental, blaming, victim mindset, we pivot you to the victor mindset of people who take life by the horns and create results that astound all the others. It's really just a process of upgrading your mindset. And when you understand this, you can see that when somebody lashes out like that from this angry, blaming, hurtful place, it has more to say about them and their mindset than about yours. That's what I really land into every time. I'm so glad that this is helpful, Claudel and all of you. Yeah. One of the videos that I show at the mindset retreat is the Brene Brown. It's called the Man in the Arena video. I think that's what it's called, but you can find it. Just type in Brene Brown, Man in the Arena, and I'm paraphrasing, but unless you're in the ring with me, if you're in the cheap seats. I have full body chills, usually divine confirmation. If you're in the cheap seats and you're not in the arena, also getting your face covered with dust and blood and sweat, and you're not actually in the arena getting your ass kicked with me, her words, not mine, then what you think of me isn't interesting to me. I don't care what you think of me unless you're in here doing the work like I am. Sometimes I really want to use an F word, but I'm not going to. But sometimes this is my non-spiritual self coming out, but when, that TED Talk comment and other comments, like same thing, when you go to Amazon and you look at my book, Embrace Your Magnificence, of course, I looked at the comments and almost all of them are 5-star comments. And then there's one guy who posted a comment that wasn't nice at all. Well, the first thing I said, is he my target audience? No. So your opinion of me doesn't matter. And the second one is I wanted to say, where's your insert F word book? Where's your bleeping book? Where's your bleeping TED Talk? Where's your bleeping you standing on stage with 7,000 people watching you? Unless you're in the arena also getting your ass kicked, your opinion of me does not matter. I'm so glad. And so there's all of that, but if you're sensitive like me, it can still hurt. So what do you do then? So 1, don't panic. When it happened last week, I'll just use last week. Last summer, the thing with the shrimp gate, I did not panic. The thing that happened a few years ago with this guy who thought I was stealing his stuff. He wrote something like, well, everybody, look at how low Fabienne Fredrickson is stooping to steal my stuff. I didn't even know who he was. And he basically was using something that looked like something that I'd taken, which I had not because I don't even know who he is, and totally used it to get all his trolls riled up. And then they all went to my fan page and on Facebook and rated it a 1 star. And all, but I didn't panic. Team members of mine were saying, I can't wait to write something. I said, sit on your hands. We are not playing this game with him. Okay. And I kept my cool because I'd experienced some of these things before. So the best thing this is my opinion only. Other people will have different opinions, but the best thing to do when you're feeling bashed in the comments is to stay calm. Okay. Do not overreact. Do not allow yourself to completely. I mean, yeah, sometimes it throws you out of the vortex. And it did me for a little bit, but take a deep breath and resist the urge to react immediately. Yes. Unless you are in the arena, your opinion of me does not matter. Take a deep breath and resist the urge to react immediately. Now, I will say this. Some comments deserve to be deleted. Yeah, they're not helpful to anybody. So you don't need to feel obligated to respond to an insane comment, even if you really want to. I told my team, do not respond. Like that whole thing with that guy saying, how low is she stooping? Never in the entire time that I addressed him did I put out up anything about this in any way to anybody. The people, yes, you're right, Lori's. People are actually looking at how you will react. And what was super interesting was that people came to my rescue in the comments of his Facebook attack on me, and without being asked. And people were saying like, Fabienne, I've been working with Fabienne for 5 years. There's no one of higher integrity, no one of higher love, no one who would do this less than her. She is not the person. You have clearly, you're wrong. And all these people came in, and I just let it all happen, right? I let it all happen without doing anything. So you may be wasting your valuable time doing something that has no possible positive outcome, even if you feel like you have a point or you want to get back at the person. I've wanted to say things like, this is my fan page. If you're not a bleeping fan, get the hell off my fan page. But I haven't done that yet. But I wanted to use the F word. I didn't do it, right? Because what's the point? But in responding, you're giving them the joy of knowing that you have noticed them and that they have successfully provoked you. And that is a win for them and their significance and their sense of like beating you and all of that stuff. So I'll say this: you don't have to respond. You can delete their comment if you feel like it. But I would say never respond to abuse. Engaging with criticism, like hatred, does not mean engaging with abuse. Like let me phrase that differently. Engaging with criticism and responding like, you may have a different opinion than I do, and I honor your opinion, and I'm asking you to just go do your due diligence. That's different than dealing with abuse. And so I just want to say, for the record, only speak to people that you feel safe talking to, even if it's online on chat, in the comments. Their rage isn't about you, so you don't need to bother engaging them. And if they're unsafe, do not talk to them. Like, do not engage, because that it could go in a weird way. I mean, if you see the kids talking to each other online, some of them say really dramatically like abusive things, like, go kill yourself. Like, that is serious stuff. Don't engage with people like that. Figure out if and how you want to respond. So this is about determining the best way to minimize any harm caused by a situation. And by the way, as I'm going through this, if you have a question for me, I can stay on possibly a little longer. How long have we been going? We've been going about an hour and 10 minutes. We should be done in the next like 15 minutes or so. If you have a question for me, write it down, save it, and then put it in the chat towards the end of this. And if I have time, I will answer that. I would be happy to. So determine the best way to minimize any harm caused by the situation. And you can assess whether it is better to be quiet and ignore the things that they threw at you, or respond to them in order to clarify an issue. Like if they're saying something that's wrong, you can clarify it. You don't have to stand for it, right? But firing back with emotion will feed the beast. And you don't want to feed the beast, because that's exactly what you want. So respond. I got this from Neil Patel. Respond if you have a good counter argument and if it will help educate other people. In responding, you can educate others and also show who you're made of. But if you feel like they're not going to stop, let it be and don't fuel the fire. Just ignore it, right? The key throughout this whole thing is to act as if you're not affected. So we said, don't let it affect you that much, right? Because if you're sensitive, it will. But even if it affects you a little bit, act as if it has not affected you. And you could say, Fabienne, that's you talk about being authentic and vulnerable and wearing your heart on your sleeve. Yeah. And then there are some times when it's not strategic to do that. Okay. So I'm not asking you to be inauthentic. I'm asking you to protect yourself. There's a big difference there, right? So, the best thing that you can do to your bashers and haters is to just show them that this is not touching you. It's just water off a duck's back. So just pretend that you don't care rather than fighting back. Now, there are some people who I read about this guy who actually calls his haters and puts them on a podcast or a show and all that. But I think you should market your business instead of doing that, right? Remain neutral and take the emotions out of the discussion. This is about staying as closely to the facts as possible. If you respond, provide them with a reason to shift their mindset. Have you thought about looking at it this way? I honor your opinion, and maybe you can look at it that way. Both of you can even look at re-examining your perspective, right? Based on their comment. I would recommend sticking to the facts. So when people were putting those 1-star comments on my Facebook after that guy and all of his turkeys and trolls said those nasty, untrue things about me, my team very, very wisely went in and said, dear John, I see that you rated our page, Fabienne's page, as a 1. We don't see you as ever having been a client or a customer. You've never worked with us. You've never purchased us. You're not even in our database. You don't follow this page. So may we please ask what you're basing this 1-star comment on? Sincerely, the Bold Heart team. And then he would come back with a little bit more vitriol because I feel like it and she steals stuff. Could you explain what she's stolen? Because I understand there's a misunderstanding, but we've actually done nothing wrong. It was truly a misunderstanding. And then it became less and less because we just stuck with the facts and we stayed non-emotional about it, right? And what you'll see happens is very quickly in 2 or 3 comments, the person is totally disarmed. If you stay with the facts without emotion, without calling people names, it can be really valuable in just diffusing the whole situation. So it's about being fair. It's about being factual. And it's about being diplomatic. Now, other people might tell you to do things differently, but this is how I'm dealing with it. And it's worked so far. So if you're going to respond, I know this seems counterintuitive, but be kind. Maybe it's Diane, I mean, you can just, you can share like, I don't know what they've said. So it's hard for me to coach you on this, but you can ask them more clarifying questions. I'll give you some advice here too. And then you can counter the point, but kindly. If you escalate online, they will likely dig in and escalate on their side too, which you do not want. So I want to share with you that one of my mentors shared this with me like 15 years ago. And he said, Fabienne, do not wrestle with a pig in bleep, because they're dirty and then they will also get you dirty and nobody wins. So wrestling with a pig in poop is not going to make your situation any better. So share your appreciation, and appreciation might be like a big term. It depends on how hateful the comment is, right? You could say, thank you for writing. I've done this before. Thank you for writing. I see that this has upset you. I'm sending you so much love. One time I did that and the person sent me back a heart and said, you too. I was like, what? Maybe they just were looking for love. Like, this is my way of walking through the world, is with my heart chakra way open. Maybe you don't need to appreciate their feedback, but you can at least acknowledge it. Like, I appreciate, or I acknowledge your comment, and appreciate that you took the time to write something. Sometimes that even just diffuses it right there. You can choose to treat your basher as a constructive critic by letting them know that their feedback is acknowledged and that you will consider it for improvement. It doesn't mean that you have to go and do what they said. Thank you. I acknowledge, thank you for your comment. I will keep it in mind. Sending you love, right? Now, that's my way of doing it. I'm not saying that you would do it this way, but that's one way. The second is to make yourself human. Remember, the screen dehumanizes both of you. So when you're not human, they feel like they can say anything they want. Remember, your hater is talking to a screen. So you will benefit from showing them that you are human and that you have feelings too. Explain yourself and your rationale, but without emotion. So you could say, I hear your side, and my rationale for thinking this is based on this. And this is my view of life, right? And you can explain yourself that way. You're not trying to convert them to your point of view. You're just going to share with them like that you respect that they have a point of view, and that your point of view may be different than theirs, and that you're a human with feelings too. And sometimes I've said, hey, please be nice. I've said that in the comments. Like, hey, I'm a person with feelings too. And when they stop to think about it, it just diffuses the situation. It's really interesting. It's amazing how some bullies will back down once they get a little bit of attention, and it's kind attention from you, especially if you're a successful person. And I'm successful in my business so far. A lot of times people will put me in the, you're just a rich, white, blonde, fake, whatever they want to, whatever filter they have of me. I'm a girl doing my thing. You can put a label on me. I'm a girl trying to do my thing in the world and give value and make a nice quality of life for me and my family, right? And I can't control how they see me through which filter and label, negative label based on them. But once you give them a little bit of attention, and it's a kind, sometimes it diffuses it. So sometimes they will even write back about how they agree with some of your points, but they were in a bad mood. Yeah, you're right. I just had a bad day. Like, that happens. You're like, okay. One of the things that my team did was to react publicly first, which is to say, I acknowledge while we disagree, we don't share the same opinion, we disagree, we still acknowledge this. We have reached out to you privately to discuss it. So you can react publicly first and then take it elsewhere, somewhere more private. Some people say, get people on the phone. I'm not into getting people on the phone. That's not true. If they are somebody that I know, I would get them on the phone. But if they're not somebody that I know, I don't want to get on the phone with them. I'd rather be on the phone with you. So responding publicly allows others to see that you have chosen to acknowledge the hater, that you're not insensitive. So there are cases where I won't acknowledge anything, like that guy and his trolls. I'm not going to acknowledge. But if it's an individual and I feel like, it would be helpful, we will do that. And if someone is still difficult to deal with, you may want to take your communication with them to a private channel. Many people will back down when you do that, because they're just vying for your public attention and interaction. They want to poke at you in public. And if you say, be happy to discuss this offline with you, it's a different story. And it diffuses the issue. So like I said, you could also choose not to respond. You don't owe anybody anything, especially a hater. Some people think that because they write a comment that you have to respond. You don't have to. I think that's a social media rule that doesn't have to happen each time. I already told you this story about I didn't respond. And within less than a few days, he and his trolls, it was all over as if nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. And in fact, I got so many new comments on my Facebook fan page of people saying 5-star comments of people saying, Fabienne is amazing. I love her. Her programs are so valuable. I doubled my business with her in 1 year and all that good stuff. So it actually brought new things. Beth, all of these things can also happen through email, right? So if you're dealing with upset people, you can do it through email. Absolutely. So sometimes it's appropriate to just report them and block them. Okay. And I have done that many times, especially in the early days. And you know what? I bet you my team does that for me, because I have not seen a really negative thing in a long time. So when all else fails, you just block the person. That's the point of it. This is a fan page. If you're not a fan, get off my page, right? We don't need your energy here. So, social media gives you the option to block and to report the person, so you no longer have to deal with them. Let social media do that for you. One of the things that really has helped to me is when I notice that other people I admire and respect are also getting targeted. It really just comes down to one thing. Oprah gets nasty comments. Oprah walks on water for me. Like, she's my best friend and she doesn't even know it yet. But if you look at the comments on a post she makes on Instagram, there will be so many lovely comments. And then there will be like hater comments. I'm like, what, you hate Oprah? For what? I don't trust you as a human being. So if Oprah and many other people that I admire and respect are getting nasty comments, then I'm just realizing this is just how the world works. And it doesn't have to be about me. And this is what made it all okay for me. It's like, okay, you can do good things in the world. You can be authentic. You can be vulnerable. You can just give like this. Like, it took me hours to put together this presentation. I'm not selling anything. I'm literally just, this is me being hopefully valuable to you, right? And if you like it, maybe one day soon, maybe one day in the long term, maybe one day never you'll work with me. Who cares? I'm just giving, because this is who I be in the world. This is who I want to be in the world. And even if I'm giving 2 hours of free content and somebody hates it, it's okay. I'm just here to be of service, right? So remind yourself of your good intentions and that you're a good person. Think about all of the positive feedback that you do receive. This is where human nature focuses on what we didn't, the 2% that's not going well, as opposed to the 98% that is going well. So focus on the good that you have. Has someone recently thanked you for a post? Did they post something that was kind? Focus on that. Do you have an awesome testimonial for your products, your services? Go read your testimonials. Did someone send you a really nice email? Go read it. Outweigh the negative comments. What I did last week is I went back and I looked at the chat from the Zoom right after we hung up, right before making dinner. And I looked and I counted, okay, there's like 3 or 4. And then I looked at and once they left, all the positive comments kept coming. And up until the end, where like this whole pivot your business thing, people are like, this totally changed everything for me. Thank you so much, right? And just focus on that stuff. We're more likely to remember the negative criticism than the praise. This has been known in surveys have been done, not surveys, research has been done about this. So even if you get a positive feedback, you're more inclined to focus on the negative. Yeah, so Ashley, it's funny, you call it a smile file, I call it a kind words folder. It's great. Like if you just have a place where you can just put, I used to have a pink box in my office. Anytime somebody sent me a card, a note, flowers or a gift, I would take like the Amazon or the card that went with it and I'd put it in there. I have notes here. I'll show it to you. Hold on. I have a little thing here. I don't know if you can see this, but just notes from clients that have sent to me. Dear Goddess Fabienne, thank you for being so innovative, brave, thoughtful, and creative with your constant evolution of yourself and your business, your life's mission. In the small things like changing and elevating systems and things like that, or what you do. This one is, I absolutely love having you as my coach. You are so wise and so smart, and you teach us in an amazing, elegant way. You break everything down into manageable steps, never failing to work on our resistance and our mindset first. I love you so much, Jen. I love I love learning from you because of the magic you create for all of us. It just goes on and on. Goes on and on and on. Here's one that I received in the mail, right? It is an extraordinary thing to be able to be part of your tribe, and I'm so happy here. Thank you for your vision and your bold, bold heart. When you have things like these, I keep notes people send to me, right? When you have things like these, this is from, because of you, I now believe in miracles. Words do little to fully express how grateful I am to work with you. You have seriously changed my life. Thank you. Much love. Ray, you when you have the kind notes folder in like a paper one, and you have one in your email, you can keep one in notes as well. You have a place to go to when you get rattled. So you're looking to outweigh the 3 or 4 comments that stung you with the dozens and dozens that were positive, whether it's now or earlier, right? So this is the kind words folder. And just read your testimonials. I know how self-centered and arrogant that may feel, but it changes everything. And then from that place, you can beam them light. I know this sounds crazy, but this is my spiritual self coming out. You can develop empathy for the person who said something nasty about you without justifying or agreeing with what they said. Empathy is just the acknowledgement that somebody else is human. And we can hesitate to empathize with somebody because we worry that when we empathize with them, we validate their point. And it doesn't have to be this case, right? If you think of them as a separate, specific person and not this disembodied voice, then you can have compassion. You can have compassion for them in a way. You can humanize them by imagining their personal life. So just think, like maybe that woman, maybe her husband doesn't love her anymore and treats her really badly. Maybe she lost her child in a car accident. Maybe she just lost her job. Look, imagine that perhaps they've had a lifelong trauma that has brought them to this state of anger and loneliness. And then from that place, beam them light and just move on, right? Don't waste time thinking about this anymore. Don't waste time talking about this anymore. That is time and energy that you can never gain back. Yes, Bonnie, hurt people. Absolutely. Lick your wounds for a bit if you want. And now it's time to stop taking what they think about you so seriously and remind yourself that this is someone who doesn't have anything better to do, or maybe this is the only source of significance they'll get that day. I always remember something that my friend John Assaraf told me. He said, successful people don't take time out of their day to hate on what others are doing. Successful people are people who support and encourage others because they've had to do the hard work themselves. They know how hard it can be to create content and to deliver it and to have the right lighting and to get people on your live or your Zoom in the first place. Successful people don't have time to hate on others, and we can just be compassionate for the others. And we're winding down now. It's like, look at the bigger picture. No matter how negative the overall reaction to anything that you post on the internet, always remember to look for the positive side. You may have occasional trolls, right? But you also have many people who are rooting for you and who will defend you in any situation. That is the case if you just keep loving people and keep adding value in the world, and you keep treating your clients and customers really nicely. They will go to bat for you. Remind yourself of your purpose and why you're posting on social media in the first place. Your purpose is bigger than any comments that you could get. You're here to affect people's situations, their lives, their families, their work, their health, whatever it is that you do. You're here to bring value. It's not about you anyway. This is the thing that I tell all of our members marketing and exposure and visibility, whatever happens, you showing up is actually not about you. Right now, this is not about me. Me creating this entire presentation was not about me. This is nothing to do with me. This is about you. This is about bringing value in your life. This is about perhaps giving you some insights that help you pivot something. Maybe those are the things that will end up having us build a trust together. And if you like what you hear here, maybe you'll reach out to us. And maybe you'll say, I'm interested. I like the way that Fabienne thinks, and I like the people on this thing. And maybe you'll reach out to us. And Dawn, if you're here and you want to put boldheartconnect.com, like maybe you like what we've just done for the last hour and a half here. But it's not about that. It's about adding value. So if you stopped posting on social media because of a few haters, you would actually withhold all of those, the countless people, maybe they're not following you yet, but the legions of people who would follow you, you're withholding all of your lovely content and your lovely presence and your personality and all your valuable wisdom. You would be withholding that from all the people who need it most because of a couple of trolls. I mean, when you look at it that way, it makes sense, right? So, the biggest takeaways, and I would like for you to write down, please do this for me. If you liked anything today, in this time that we had together today, would you please put it in the comments? Like my biggest insight was, or what I liked most was, or I really got that. What are your biggest takeaways from our time together today? I will share with you that every successful person has haters. You cannot avoid it. And the more successful you will get, the more haters you will have. But it will be like infinitesimal compared to all the people who will love you and get value from you, right? So developing a thick skin just happens over time. The first few times will suck. It will be horrible. It will be hard to deal with. And it can happen. Developing that thick skin can happen even faster if you put conscious effort into it. It will be easier if you surround yourself with other entrepreneurs who understand mindset, like we do at Bold Heart. We're all looking for greater impact, greater influence, greater reach, and to grow that reach. We understand, and if we're all walking the path together, if you have a community to go to and to say, hey guys, I just got my first hater and it feels horrible. You've got all these people swooshing in to love you up and to take care of you. And that really makes a big difference. It's just the reality of running an online business. And right now, everybody's kind of running an online business, right? It's a reality of growing your impact. And so this is the world we're living in. This is the world we're marketing in. And if you want to grow, you can't just do things face to face. Right now, you can't do things face to face, right? So just keep trucking. This is what I've said for years. Just keep the most successful people. Just find a way to shift their mindset so that they're not deeply affected by this, and they continually commit to growing their visibility and their reach. So just keep trucking. I'm glad that this is a permission to be much bigger. And listen, if you want to, in a way, Gail, you do want to celebrate when you get a hater, right? Mary Lee, thank you so much. Thank you, Beth. More visibility, more haters. So listen, if this speaks to you, check out mindsetretreat.com. We start in 2 weeks. It's a 3-day experience. It's happening online. And this is where we work on your VBA, your big vision of what you're here to do in the world, and really stretch your vision about how big you're here to play. Your B is about your beliefs and your mindset and how you show up, right? We shift your beliefs about these trolls, but also all these other things. We shift your fears so that you, take bigger action with faith. And check us out, mindsetretreat.com. You can work with me for 3 days, very, very affordably from the comfort of your own home. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for such a good podcast. I've been listening to you for over a year now. Thank you, Janet. That is so nice. It's a wet blanket, Julia. That's super. Julia Cameron says that. Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that. I hope this was useful today. And I'm sending you all my love. If you have a question, put it in the chat now. And you like distinguishing between the haters and the critics, Beth. I really appreciate that. It's so positive. Dominique, I'm so glad that this added value and raised your frequency. It looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm sending you all my love. Just keep doing a great job. And if we can help, reach out to us at boldheartconnect.com. And have a wonderful rest of the day, wonderful rest of the week. And I will see you next time. Bye.